सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। तव नाम स्मरणं मम जीवनम् तव नाम श्रवणं परमानन्दम् तव नाम स्मरणं मम जीवनम् तव नाम श्रवणं परमानन्दम् तव रूपग्रहणं भवहरणम् तव रूपग्रहणं भवहरणम् तव पादसेवनं मम रक्षकम् तव पादसेवनं मम रक्षकम् ब्रह्मानन्दं स्वामी नामम् नेत्रानन्दं स्वामी रूपम् नित्यानन्दं स्वामी गीतम् हृदयानन्दं स्वामी बोधम् आत्मानन्दं स्वामी ध्यानम् आनन्दं परमानन्दम् स्वामी सेवनमानन्दम् ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ ॐ गुरुनाथ जय गुरुनाथ सद्गुरुनाथ मम गुरुनाथ कल्याण सुंदर रामा कारुण्य जानकी रामा कल्याण सुंदर रामा कारुण्य जानकी रामा पीताम्बरधर रामा भयभीति विभञ्जन रामा पीताम्बरधर रामा भयभीति विभञ्जन रामा दशावतारा रामा दशमुखमर्दन रामा दशावतारा रामा दशमुखमर्दन रामा भक्तसुधामा रामा भक्तप्रियङ्कर रामा भक्तसुधामा रामा भक्तप्रियङ्कर रामा कारुण्य जानकी रामा भयभीतिविभञ्जन रामा भयभीतिविभञ्जन रामा ॐ नमो नारायणाय 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 ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Humble prostrations to one and all. Today we will take up the topic of how to make right decisions in life. What are the aspects we must keep in mind while making right decisions? So the first one is decision making based on our faculties. And what are the two important faculties in us? One is the mind, the other is the intellect. So how do we define mind in this context? So that faculty in us which takes decisions based on likes and dislikes, that faculty is called mind. And that faculty which takes decisions based on right and wrong, that is called as intellect. So the mind says, I like this, let us do it. I don't like this, let us not do it. What does the intellect say? This is right, let us do it. This is wrong, let us not do it. So whom should we listen to? Mind or intellect? Yes, we should listen to the intellect. So whenever you are going to make any decision, ask this question to yourself. Is this decision I'm going to make, is it based on the temptations of the mind? Or is it based on the wise judgment of the intellect? Right. Choice is ours. Every situation, you will hear two voices. One from the mind, the other from the intellect. So how many combinations are possible? 4. 4 situations are possible. There is something which is right and I love doing it. Any problem? No problem. There is something wrong, I hate doing it. Any problem? No problem. When does the problem begin? So there is something right and I dislike doing it. Then there is a tug of war. Then there is a struggle. Or there is something wrong and I love doing it. Again the problem comes. So at such moments, how should we make decision? Whatever the intellect says, do it. It doesn't matter whether I like it or I don't like it. Whatever the intellect says, do it. What happens if we don't listen to the intellect and we go on taking decision only based on the mind? I like it, I am doing it. I don't like it, I will not do it. What will happen? Which faculty in us becomes strong when I constantly live my life based on likes and dislikes? Which becomes strong? Mind becomes strong. And what happens to the intellect? Because you are ignoring the intellect, you are not feeding the intellect, you are only feeding the mind. There are 2 dogs. One dog you feed, the other you don't feed. So who will become strong? The dog which is well fed will become strong. So the mind becomes strong and the intellect becomes weak. Intellect becoming weak means what? That intellect which is supposed to guide me with its light of discrimination, that light becomes dimmer and dimmer, duller and duller. So the dim light will not be able to see clearly. In the same way, with such a dull, dim intellect, life becomes more and more difficult in decision making. And what happens to this mind? This mind, well fed upon actions based on likes and dislikes, this mind becomes a monstrous master. Not a good master. A monster. And I become a helpless slave in the hands of such a mind. Chain smokers, drug addicts, drunkards, criminals, they all belong to this category. What is the mistake they have done? They have always taken decision based on the mind. They have totally ignored the intellect. So when that mind becomes a master in me, who suffers? The first person to suffer is me, myself. And then, as a byproduct, others also suffer. I create a hell for myself, I create a hell for others. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu, Atmaiva Vipuratmanaha. My own mind is my best friend, My own mind becomes my worst enemy. But instead of listening to this mind, suppose I listen always to this intellect. Means what? Whatever is right, I do it. Whatever is wrong, I don't do it. Of course, there is a struggle there. And this struggle is what is called as tapas. It's called as tapas. It's an austerity. So the real tapas is not standing on one leg looking to unto the sun and with raised hands. In Purana, etc., you find this kind of thing. Real tapas is this. When the struggle is happening from within, the mind and intellect, they are fighting with each other. Mind wants to do something which it loves, and at the same time you know that it is wrong. Then there's a struggle. In this struggle, if you are constantly supporting your intellect, then what happens? The intellect starts becoming stronger and stronger. And to make your intellect stronger, you have to pay a price for it. And what is that price? This internal struggle. Going through that pain, going through that struggle. Whenever we talk of tapas, it is always connected with some effort, isn't it? Tapa means heat. And when is heat produced? When there is friction. And for a friction to happen, there has to be two surfaces going against each other. Then only there is friction. So the mind and intellect rubbing against each other, fighting against each other, there comes a heat. That's called as heat of tapas. Agre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam. In the beginning it is poisonous. You just don't want to go through that. It is painful. But at the end, it is nectarian. What is the nectar involved? Slowly, slowly, slowly your intellect becomes more and more powerful, more and more pure. And such a powerful intellect is able to guide you. It is always with you as your best friend, ever guiding you, ever showing you the path, what is right, what is wrong, what you should do, what you should not do. And the light is a brilliant light, so there is absolutely no confusion. And once you have known what is right, the mind, what happens to the mind? It obediently follows the intellect. This is right, therefore I love doing it. This is wrong, therefore I dislike doing it. Mind becomes an obedient servant of that intellect. So such a personality is called integrated personality. There is an integration. Integration means what? Becoming one. What is right, you love it. What is wrong, you dislike it. The conflict ends. The Kurukshetra war ends. Who is victorious? Pandavas or Kauravas? If the intellect is winning, the Pandavas are victorious. So this battle is there in every one of us. Who will win the battle depends on whom you will support. And this intellect, which is so bright and brilliant, purified by this tapas of struggle, purified by this tapas of righteous living, this intellect automatically gets attracted to truth, automatically gets attracted to everything good and noble, automatically gets attracted to God. And in such an antakarana, bhakti comes automatically, viveka comes automatically, mumukshutvam comes automatically, vairagyam comes automatically. Everything happens automatically. Just like how a piece of iron is automatically attracted towards a magnet. Actually, it should become effortless. It should become spontaneous. This is what happens when you live listening to the wise guidance of the intellect. Right. For such a person, there is no struggle in reaching the destination. We are all travelers, actually. We are all travelers. We are all traveling in a vehicle. What is the vehicle? BMI is the vehicle. Correct? What is the destination? Liberation is the destination. Satchidananda is the destination. So how smooth will be your travel depends on how efficient your vehicle is. Path is determined, goal is determined, but yes, vehicle is very important. Atmanam rathinam vidhi shariram rathamev tu buddhim tu sarathim vidhi manah pragrahamev cha indriyani hayanahu Vishayansteshu gocharan Atmendriyamanoyuktam Bhoktetyahurmanishinaha. The wise people say. What do they say? Manishinaha ahu. Wise people say. What do they say? That we are all travelers. Okay. So what is a vehicle? Atmanam rathinam vidhi. There is a chariot, and in that chariot there is a traveler. And who is he? We all, the Jivatmas, all of us, we are the owner of this chariot. Atmanam rathinam vidhi shariram rathamevatu. What is this? Ratham, chariot. Shariram, the physical body. Shariram rathamevatu. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. There has to be a charioteer. Who is driving the chariot? Who is he? Buddhi, the intellect. You see? Manah pragrahamevacha. Now the chariot must be holding on to the reins, connected to the horses. What are these reins? Manaha pragraham. The reins is nothing but the mind. What are the horses? Indriyani hayan ahu. All our indriyas, sense organs, they are the horses. And what is the route? The path? Vishayans teshu gocharan. The Vishayas, the sense objects, that is the path. So sense objects, that is the road. Horses are the sense organs. Reins, mind. Charioteer, intellect. Chariot, the physical body. So this way we are all traveling. Now tell me, what is the most important thing here? The most important entity which will ensure that the honor reaches the destination. The most important entity is the driver, the charioteer, isn't it? What is his strength? The strength is his knowledge. What knowledge he must have? Number one, he must have the knowledge of the destination. Number two, he must have the knowledge of the route. There is easy route, there is difficult route. There are bad roads, there are good roads. Correct? There are Indian roads, there are American roads. Charioteer must know. Also, the charioteer, it is said that only if the charioteer has a very friendly, good relationship with the horses, these horses will obey the instruction of the charioteer. Horse riders, etc., they know this. They have very intimate relationship with this horse. And therefore, whatever the instruction he gives, the horse readily obeys. So he must have the knowledge of the horses also. He must have the knowledge of the chariot also. So what is the strength of a charioteer? The strength is his knowledge. In the same way, what is our true strength? Our true strength is the knowledge in our intellect. That is why satsang is important. That is why study of the scriptures important. Study groups important. What are we doing? We are trying to gain knowledge. There are so many sadhanas available in this world, spiritual sadhanas. But Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Nahi jnanena miha, nahi jnanena sadrisham, pavitramiha vidyate. But no sadhana like knowledge. Jnanam is the greatest. Sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. All your tapas, all your karma, ye wo sab, everything has to end in jnana. The most important thing. So we must know the glory of Chinmaya Mission. That's the point. Chinmaya Mission is an organization which is focusing only on knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is the most important thing. Right, now if you see this chariot example, what happens if the charioteer is a useless fellow? Whom will the reins follow? The wild horses, isn't it? The horses will run and the reins will just follow the horses. Indriyanam hicharatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harati prajna vayurnavam iva ambhasi. Just like an unanchored boat gets carried away by the wind, in the same way, the sense organs are wandering. Behind these wandering sense organs, mind is wandering. And behind this mind, intellect is wandering. Will you reach the destination? Never. You see, it's a very peculiar position of the reins. If the charioteer is inefficient, the reins will follow the horses. But if the charioteer is efficient, the reins will follow the charioteer. And with that, horses will follow the reins. Reins will follow the charioteer. Everything is perfect. Mangalam. Auspicious. Your sense organs are well controlled by the mind. And the mind is well disciplined, obedient unto the intellect. And the intellect is tuned to the divine. This is called as perfect living. In life of such a person, everything is auspicious. Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhyah param manah manasastu para buddhi yo buddhe paratastu saha. Compared to the sense objects, sense organs are higher. Compared to sense organs, mind is higher. Compared to the mind, intellect is higher. And compared to intellect, Saha, the Supreme Self, is highest. So there is a gradation. So when the lower readily comes under the discipline of the higher, everything is fine. Everything is beautiful, auspicious, divine. This is actually called as integrated personality. Lower readily coming under the control of the higher. Without questioning the higher, the lower is obeying the higher. In fact, if you see throughout the world also, if such a thing is happening in the individual, in a family, in an organization, in a team, in a nation, if these things are happening, that entity goes from prosperity to prosperity, there is peace and harmony there. Yes or no? In family also there is something called lower, something called higher. Who are the lower in a family? Children. Who are the higher? Parents. In the Vedic times, not now, in the Vedic times, children, they can be compared to the sense organs. Mind, who is mind? Generally the wife. And who is intellect? Husband. Vedic times. Okay. So if that husband is a person of integrity, self-control, a person of values, and in those times at least 10-15 years gap also used to be there. So by age also he is little mature, evolved, then you will find that in that family everything is perfect. In the olden days, if you see, children never even dare to ask anything from father. Whatever they wanted, they used to ask mother. Then mother would go to the father and request. Mother always generally takes side of children only. Isn't it? Then everything is perfect in that family. But suppose ulta happens. Children decide. Then what will happen? Children are ruled by mother. And the husband is completely controlled by wife. Then there is a total mess. Right. Anyway, if you did not like that example, keep it aside. Okay. These were the Indian ways, not American ways. So don't pollute your mind taking of this. Why Swamiji has given this example? I did not like it. Keep it aside. Just have to focus on this mind-intellect thing. Okay. Whatever the intellect says, the mind just obeys. And whatever the mind says, the sense organs obey. If this is happening in your personality, everything is fine with you. What is the secret of success? This is a very important question in management. Secret of success. All these management talks are very superficial. They don't carry depth. So what is the secret of success? They say, hard work, yeah. Concentration, yes. Attitude, yes. Motivation, yes. Inspiration, yes. And there the discussion over. My dear, all these terms which you have mentioned, how to cultivate it? See, the depth which the scriptures have, you don't find that depth anywhere else. So this counter question you must ask. See, fine, all these terms we accept. Concentration, dedication, inspiration. But what is that factor from which everything is coming? So we say it is coming from the mind. Yes, it is the mind which has to concentrate. It is the mind which has to be inspired. All those noble virtues, mind should have. But what kind of mind will have it? The mind which is disciplined, obedient to the intellect. But how to strengthen this intellect? Through right knowledge. A knowledgeable intellect is a strong intellect. An ignorant intellect is a weak one. And such a weak intellect will just blindly follow the temptations of the mind. In fact, what happens is, whatever the mind says, the intellect will justify it. So this person has sugar problem and the Tirupati Laddu comes. What will he say? What will the mind say? Mind loves it, so the intellect will say, this is prasad, so no problem at all. You see, this is called intellect justifying the decisions of the mind. This is what happens in loose personalities, disintegrated personalities. You try to justify whatever you like. Right. So, whenever you make decisions, how should you make decisions? Listen to your intellect. Strengthen your intellect. How do you strengthen? By obeying it. Please understand, there is a huge difference between collecting information. In fact, there are 3 stages in which knowledge comes. Knowledge has got 3 stages. What are the 3 stages? One is Shravana Janita Jnanam. You have gathered information from the scriptures, you have gathered information from people. You have just information. Can you call it wisdom? No. Then there's a second stage, Manana Janita Jnana. You have reflected upon it. Now you are convinced that this information is true. So that second stage is called conviction. You are convinced. You are thoroughly convinced. There is no doubt that this piece of information is perfectly right. But will that alone will do? No. There are so many doctors, they know very well that smoking is injurious, but they are chain smokers. Why is it so? Is it because they lack information? Is it because they lack conviction? What is it that which they lack? Practice. They don't put it into practice. That is called as nididhyasana. Nididhyasana means working on it. Whatever you know, you have to work on it. There is a struggle. Bad habits have to be broken. New good habits have to be created. In that there is a struggle. It is in this struggle that intellect gains knowledge. And this knowledge alone is true knowledge. And this knowledge is what we call as wisdom. Knowledge is different, wisdom is different. What is wisdom? Well digested knowledge is called wisdom. What is the proof that knowledge has been digested, assimilated? Your personality reflects it. Whenever a situation comes, you don't respond to the situation based on your information. You respond to your situation based on your wisdom, digested knowledge. That readily comes to you. Many times this complaint comes, Swamiji, I have read so many scriptures, but why is it that, whatever they have promised, bliss and this and that, nothing is there. Nothing is there because that knowledge is at the level of maybe either mere information or at the most a little conviction. You have to live it. There is a struggle. Just like gold is purified in heat at hot furnace, in the same way, it is this struggle, this tapas, which purifies the mind and makes the intellect strong. And once the intellect is strengthened, that intellect is your greatest guide. In fact, this purified intellect itself becomes the voice of God, a voice of conscience. Are you able to follow what I am saying? So don't think spirituality is all about listening, reading and forgetting. Spirituality is living. You have to live it, put it into practice. The more you practice, the more that knowledge shines in you. The more that knowledge blesses you. Right, moving forward. The second aspect in decision making. When you are making decision, The second aspect is the role that you play in the society. Many times what we see is, sometimes the roles conflict and we don't know which role to take. For example, in Arjuna's case, as a family man, he is supposed to love his near and dear ones. But as an army man, he is supposed to kill them. There is a conflict. What should he do? As a family man, oh, this is my grandfather, Bhishma. I should worship him. And here am I, the sinner, who is ready to kill him. Confused. Both sides he sees only near and dear ones. Totally confused. In such a situation, what should you do? When the roles conflict. So the law is, always decide based on your higher role, bigger role. There will be a lower role, there will be a higher role. Always decision must be taken based on your higher role. Now, army man, family man, which role is bigger? Of course, because army man means what? You are associated with the entire nation. Your responsibility, duty towards your nation is bigger than your responsibility towards your family. Why is it so? Because only if the nation is there, family is there. Family is safe and protected only when the nation is safe. Suppose there is this only son of a parent, and suppose he is in the army and the war breaks out. Should he stay back taking care of his father and mother, or should he go to the borders fighting the enemy? What should he do? There's a role conflict. Suppose he says, no, I am the only son. If I am dead, who will look after my parents? So I should stay back. Will you congratulate him? Oh, Pitru Bhakti, Matru Bhakti, great. Will you? No. You see? So there is a role conflict. Army man, family man. So then he will have to go to the borders. Bigger role gets a greater priority. Suppose there is this teacher who is correcting the papers, of student, say 10th standard, whatever, 10th grade. And suddenly she comes across the answer sheet of her own son. How did she know? Handwriting. This is my son's paper. The mother in her wants to give more marks. Extreme affection. But the teacher in her will want to be strict, impartial. So which role should he take? The teacher role or a mother role? Teacher's role. Why? The teacher role is bigger than mother's role. The son, rank criminal, has come to the court and the judge is the father. So if the father says, to err is human, to forgive is divine. So I forgive him. Then we say, devil is quoting the scripture, isn't it? Devil is quoting the scriptures. As a father, he is not a father there. He is a judge. If capital punishment has to be given, he has to give it. Then that is righteous. So whenever the roles conflict, always take decision based on your higher role. I've heard a very interesting interview of a police officer in India, an IPS officer. So he was posted in an area which was filled with all kinds of criminals. So the first day when he took charge, he gets a phone call from the local gunda. So the call was, sir, I will lovingly advise you. There is a win-win situation. You also win, we also win. It's win-win. What is it? Lot of criminal activities will happen here. You just turn a blind eye. Just close your eyes. Then what will happen? Whatever share we get, a percentage of it will come to you. And moreover, there is no threat for you. We can live peacefully, in harmony. But suppose you go against us, then sir, it's a lose-lose situation. Not only that you will not get any money from us, moreover, we know your family, your wife, your child, where the child is studying, everything we know. Your life and your family member's life will be under threat. You choose. Now what should that police officer do? This is such kinds of thing, what all kinds of situations people face. He loves his family on one side. But on the other side. Anyway, that interview was very good. He was just telling how. So what is tapas there? Yes. Sticking to your higher role. That purifies the mind. The path of spirituality is not that easy. Okay, so this is decision based on roles. Now the third one. Decision based on the beneficiary. Who is the one who is going to benefit? So always take decisions which is going to benefit the samashti, not the vyashti. Samashti means what? Totality. Vyashti means what? The individual. Decision must be taken which is beneficial for everyone. So in this case of this police officer, suppose he says, win-win situation is better. I get extra money also, and my family is also safe. So then what has he decided? Samashti or Vyashti? Vyashti. He has forgotten Samashti. Or an engineer who builds third-rate bridges and buildings and makes money out of it. Corrupt engineer, corrupt doctor. Yes, I as an individual, my family is benefited, but in the process what is happening to the Samashti? Yes. Never take such decisions. Whatever decision is good for all, such decisions should be taken. Right. Suppose I am a team member, say let us say football. There is a wonderful opportunity for me to score the goal, but in front of me there is this goalkeeper. So I am in the penalty area, penalty box. Goalkeeper is in front of me. But I find my teammate in a better position to score the goal because nobody is in front of him. So what should I do? I should pass on the ball to my teammate. But what is the loss which I have to go through individually? Tomorrow in the newspaper his name will come. My name will not be there. My sacrifice also will not be there. There is a sacrifice. Such a person scored this much, greatest scorer, this, that, etc. You see, if I pass on to the ball, team will benefit, but I am the loser. But if I strive to score the goal, there is a less chance of scoring the goal, but as an individual. So which one should I take? Which decision should I take? Whatever is good for the team, isn't it? A sacrifice in God. World Cup cricket is going on. So suppose there is a possibility of a run out. A very good batsman and a tail under batsman. There's a possibility of run out. Who should do what? The tail ender should sacrifice is wicked. So that becomes a sacrifice. So whenever such situations come, always think what is good for the totality. That I must do. This attitude in Bhagavad Gita is called Yajna Bhava, the attitude of sacrifice. I am not important, the totality is important. I sacrifice myself for the welfare and well-being of the totality. You see, in every field we can practice this. It's not that you have to become a Swami to practice spirituality. No. Every field. And what does Bhagavan say in 3rd chapter? Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajna pratishtitam, Bhagavan says. That all-pervading Lord is established in yajna. Means what? Any person who has this attitude, the attitude of self-sacrifice, for that person, spirituality is a cakewalk. Because what is spirituality? It is nothing but dropping the ego, destroying the ego. Ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam. Upadeshara Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, the greatest tapas is destruction of the ego and allowing the Lord, the self, to shine forth. So destruction of ego is considered to be the greatest tapas. Mahat idam tapa. So when I am sacrificing myself for the welfare of the totality, what am I doing? I am destroying this ego in me, the individuality in me. For such a person who has trained, who has lived such a life, for him spirituality is very easy. So don't think that spirituality is all about, renouncing everything and sitting quietly with closed eyes in some remote cave of Himalayas. No. Everywhere we have an opportunity to practice spirituality. Kurukshetra is everywhere. The whole world is a battlefield. And the real battle is happening within. Right. So always a decision should be what is good for the totality. That I should do. It's a very nice, activity which I heard, rather read. So there was this management guru. He had some 50 people in front of him. So he gave a balloon to everyone. I said, now blow it up, write your name. So all of them wrote their name. So all these activities you can do with children also. Okay. Then they were asked to put all these balloons in a room. They just mixed it up. They were asked to come back and sit. Then it was told, now quickly go and get back your balloon. So everyone rushed to the room and trying to find out who was balloon. 5-10 minutes passed and everybody was struggling. Then they were asked to come back. Again the balloon was mixed up and then they were asked, now instead of searching for your balloon, whichever balloon you get, you just go and give it to that person. Just read the name, oh, it belongs to this. So instead of searching for your balloon, whatever balloon you get, you just give it to that person. And they did this within 1 or 2 minutes. Everyone got their balloon. What a beautiful way of teaching the, Yajna Bhava. The whole of 3rd chapter is nothing but this. Sahayajna prajasuštva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadhvam yeshavahatu ishtakamadhuk. The Creator, having created the world, especially the mankind, this was a loving advice given to the mankind. What? Anena prasavishyadhvam. May you prosper with this yajna bhava, the attitude of sacrifice. Yeshavahatu ishtakamadhuk. May this be your kamadhenu. What is kamadhenu? the wish fulfilling cow in the heaven. So that cow not only gives milk, it gives everything. Whatever you want, you can just milk it. The fulfiller of your desires. So this was the instruction given by the Lord before sending this mankind to this world. So this is what we should do. Wherever you go, think in this way. Producing more than what I consume, giving more than what I take. No, Swamiji, I may be doing that, but if others are selfish, you don't worry about that. Your job is you do what you are supposed to do. The cosmic forces will ensure that you go higher and higher. Materially, spiritually, you start prospering. The cosmic forces will. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shrayaf param avapsyata ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha. So our job is this. Wherever we are, in the family, always think, how can I make others happy? In an organization, how can I make others happy? How can I help organization progress? In a team, how can I see that team prospers? This way the thought should be. The attitude of sacrifice. Such a person just goes higher, higher, higher. These are all the secrets. Secrets of successful living. Not only spiritually, that person also prospers, materially also. Both. Don't think spirituality is all about only, spiritual evolution. No. Materially also, we must gain prosperity. That also comes under spirituality only. Right. So how many over now? First one, based on faculty. Second one, based on the role. Third one, beneficiary. Okay. Fourth one, decision making based on one's own swadharma. We must know what are our plus points, our inclinations, especially while choosing profession. Modern youngsters are totally confused because there are so many fields, and what should I become? Should I become an engineer or a doctor or a sports person, lawyer? Total confusion. So what is the instruction given in Bhagavad Gita? Swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavaha. Do what your swadharma says. In Prakriti, if you see, all beings, they are doing their swadharma, and therefore they are happy also. Monkey is always on the tree. It never jumps into water. Fish is always in water. It never tries to compete with the deer. Correct? Earthworm, it is always under the earth. That is its place. If you are where you should be, there should not be any kind of friction, stress. Everything should do what it is supposed to do. You see the body, physical body. Eyes are supposed to see. It need not hear. It need not digest food. There are so many things happening. Eye's job is only to see. Ear's job only to hear. In the same way, we should know what our swadharma is. What am I good at? What is my natural calling? What is my inclination? What am I good at? So that profession which gives me fulfillment, that profession in which I don't consider problems as problems, but I consider problems as an opportunity to learn and grow. That profession which I just love doing it, not because the money it brings, because I consider more of it as a hobby, which I love doing it. That profession is the right profession for me. Today, what is the tragic situation happening? I choose my profession based on peer pressure or the package. This gives more money, I should take it. Arey, but are you fit? That, who cares? You will mess up your life. Paradharmo bhayava. Not only the existing vasanas are not exhausted, you will create new vasanas also. Right. Swadharma, you should know. And unless you look within and tune to the Lord in you, actually speaking, it's very difficult to find out what your Swadharma is. Don't get carried away by the noise, external noise. There will be so many people who will say, do this, do that, do this, do that. Don't listen. Listen to your inner calling. When you're doing the wrong thing, there is no fulfillment. Others may be appreciating you, but there is no fulfillment. Then understand it is not yours. There is something else. Others are not very appreciating, but inside you are finding great fulfillment. That is it. Once you get such a profession which is fulfilling, then life is no more a burden. There is no more boredom in your profession. You enjoy it. So decision making based on Swadharma. Now the next one. Decision making based on the voice of conscience. Listen to that inner voice. Upon this we have spoken at length yesterday. When I am doing the wrong thing, what happens? Remember, conscience is different from consciousness. People get confused. Voice of consciousness. No. Consciousness has no voice. Conscience is different from consciousness. Consciousness is Satchidananda. It is ever silent. Voice of conscience is nothing but the voice of the pure intellect, a pure mind. A pure mind is ever in tune with the divine. So when the pure mind is in tune with the divine, that guidance of the divine is seen through the pure mind. And that we call it as voice of God or voice of conscience. So if there is anything which is creating guilt, then don't do it. And you will always find that as you spiritually evolve, this voice of conscience starts becoming louder and clearer. Louder means very intense. The very thought of doing it will give you sleepless nights. That is the pain. A refined intellect will not even allow you to think something bad. Forget about doing it or speaking and all that. That's all. As you evolve in spirituality, you become more and more sensitive. And after that, your life is led by this voice. You dare not disobey that voice. Because obeying that voice is peace. Disobeying that voice is hell. That is why the great saints say everything is done by God. I did not do anything, everything He did. How did He do? His voice was so clear, strong, and therefore I did. That inspiration was from Him, so therefore I did. So all the credit should go to whom? To the Lord. Bhagavan, I am only an instrument, you did it. But to the extent we are ruled by the ego, to that extent this voice of conscience start becoming blur, dim. Then who rules us? Not the voice of God, but the voice of the ego. And I, listening to the voice of this ego, do some egoistic thing. Whose action it will be? My action or God's action? It is my action. I ignored that voice and did myself something. You cannot say that it is God's action. Many times this question comes. If everything is done by God, then whatever criminal activities the criminals do, that also should belong to God. It is not God. God was guiding you. You did not listen. You were carried away by your likes and dislikes, your criminal tendencies. And based on your criminal tendencies, you did some criminal act. And then you say, God did it. Your vasanas made you do it. God was guiding you. You did not listen. You disobey the laws and do something and then blame the government. You see? So this voice of conscience. So unless you live a pure life, this voice of conscience will not be clear. So the greatest asset of noble people in the society, the saintly ones in the society, the greatest asset is this voice. It should ever be clear. Right. The more and more you do spiritual sadhana, this voice becomes clear. What is spiritual sadhana? Walking the path of righteousness. And whatever we are discussing, they are all nothing but path of righteousness. See, when the child becomes very dear to mother, and the child does something wrong, what does the mother do? Can she remain quiet? Disobedient child, she has no freedom. But an obedient child, she will give to. Neighbor's child, she will not do anything. She will not try to correct the neighbor's child. But her own child doing something wrong, she can't. She can't just watch it with indifference. Neighbor's child doing something, maybe she will not bother much. So in the same way, we should not become a neighbor's child for the Lord. I want my God to interfere. Even when I am tempted to do something wrong, God should just push me back, forcefully interfere into my life and save me from all dangers. But for me to become a beloved child of God, there is something which I have to do. What should I do? Walking the path of righteousness. Because this dharma is something which Bhagavan loves the most. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavam yuge yuge. In this process, what does he do? Paritranaya sadhuna. I protect the virtues. So as we are cultivating these virtues in life, what happens is that relationship becomes very intense. And once the relationship becomes very intense, then we are no more strangers for God. God should feel He is my own. Right. So voice of conscience. So what is the first one? Forgot. Faculty. Second one? The role. Third one? Beneficiary. Fourth one? Swadharma. Fifth one? Voice of conscience. Now, next is sixth one, isn't it? Sixth one. Or enough? Do you want more? Sixth one. Decision making based on the moods of the mind. What are the three moods of the mind? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. You are a totally different personality in each mood. When the mind is sattvic, you are a totally different person. When the mind is rajasic, you are a totally different person. When the mind is in tamas, totally different. Right? Don't trust that mind which is tamasic or rajasic. It will show the way to hell and say this is the way to heaven. Very, very dangerous. You see, all these secrets you will never know unless you come to spirituality. Otherwise, you are just living a life of animal. Animal means what? Only looking outside and behaving. Pashyati iti pashu. What is pashu? Pashyati. Whatever it sees, it believes. That's it. When you study the scriptures, you come to know so much about yourself. When the mind is sattvic, you are at your best. So whenever important decisions have to be taken, take it only when the mind is sattvic. Never take when the mind is rajasic or tamasic. Many times we see this. At the heat of the moment, you shout at somebody, abuse somebody, beat somebody. At that time you think what you are doing is right. But later on, when you come back, when the mind has cooled down, all the emotions have settled down, then the thought comes, I think I shouldn't have spoken like that. I don't know in which mood I have said this. I don't know why I did that. I can't believe that I did this. Act in haste, repent in leisure. Some mistakes are such throughout your life that guilt is there. Can't come out of certain. So what is the mistake we do? When the mind was in tamas or rajas, we took some decision, important decisions in life. And later on throughout your life you regret. Very many good relationships are broken. Some hurting words escape through your lips. The relationship is gone. Yes or no? So decision making. When you are making a decision, ask yourself, in which mood I am in? Am I in sattva, rajas or tamas? If I am in rajas, just hold on. Withdraw from the scene. Because all your thoughts, words, deeds, everything will be a blunder only. Withdraw. Lock yourself up. Allow that emotions to pass away. Let everything settle down. Delay the decisions. Don't take decisions in hurry-burry. When Abdul Kalam was asked by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Sir, we want you to be the president of this country. Will you agree? Atal Bihari Vajpayee asked APJ Abdul Kalam. You know what Abdul Kalam said? Just give me 1 hour time. He did not get excited. Oh, is it so? Yeah. No. He said, just give me 1 hour time. He meditated, quietened the mind. And then in that quiet mind he asked, will this be good for me, for the nation? Is it a right decision? Or am I taking this just only to get that name, fame, recognition? Yes, the nation can benefit. There are a lot of things which I can share with the younger generation. Yes, it's a wonderful opportunity. Then he came back, called Vajpayee and said, yes, So sometimes there are some difficult decisions. What you have to do? Just wait. Wait for the next morning, especially. Morning is a Brahma Muhurta, Sattvic time. Take bath, freshen yourself, sit in meditation, prayer, and the mind is quiet. Bring that issue. Then you will be amazed. That mind which is pure, peaceful, in tune with the divine, that mind starts giving you such wonderful ideas, such creative ideas. You will be amazed. And whatever that Sattvic mind says, just do it. Remember later on, that very same mind will say, no, that is wrong. It is not the same mind, it is a Rajasic mind. Don't listen to it. Morning you take a decision, yes, this is to be done. Okay, just do it. So this is decision making based on the moods of the mind. Next one. Swami, when it will end? I read 30, I will end it, don't worry. Decision making. Now suppose none of these things are working. So you can make your decision based on the scriptures or the way the wise people have lived. How did they face this particular situation? Our ancestors, the wise people, the noble ones in the society, how did they live? That is also a very good reference point. Pratipashya yatha purve, pratipashya tatha pare. What have they done? And that is why we have so many stories in the Puranas. Mahabharatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, so many stories are there. Why these stories? In such situations, what did the great ones do? Matru Devo Bhava. But Bharata disobeyed mother. Pitru Devo Bhava. Prahlada disobeyed Hiranyakashipu. You will find such stories are also there. Acharya Devo Bhava. Here is Arjuna killing his own teacher. It's not easy to, practice dharma. Very difficult. Gahana karmanogati. Very difficult to understand what is dharma. So in such situations, follow the wise people. Or go to somebody who is really wise, whom you respect, revere. Ask. And whatever that person says, just do it. Then also you are protected. And if nothing works, the last one. What is the last one? Pray to the Lord. Bhagavan, save me. Karpanya doshopahata svabhava prachhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yachreyasyan nischitam bruhitanme shishyasteham chadhivam tvam prapannam. Bhagavan, I am totally confused. Dharma sammudha cheta, please guide me. So this verse actually is the 7th verse in the 2nd chapter. So great saint Swami Akhandanji Maharaj, he said, when you are in total confusion, chant this verse just before going to sleep, every day. So this is a verse of surrender. Arjuna surrenders unto Bhagavan and then Bhagavad Gita starts. That is this verse. The turning point in Bhagavad Gita comes from this verse. 7th verse, 2nd chapter. Sincerely seek the guidance of the Lord and something will happen. Guidance will come. The cosmos is designed for it. When there is a heartfelt prayer, the cosmos cannot ignore it. The Lord has to answer that prayer. Right? This is the last one. So many options are there. Okay? So this way, if our life is guided by dharma, righteousness, we are ever protected by the divine Lord. Such a person is ever happy, ever cheerful, never regretful, in safe hands. This is the way we must live our life. Atma Ramanandaramana Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana Raghukul Bhushan Rajiv Lochana Raghukul Bhushan Rajiv Lochana Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana Adi Narayana Ananta Shayana Sachidananda Satya Narayana Sachidananda Satya Narayana Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana Raghukul Bhushan Rajiv Lochana Atma Ramanandaramana Anandaramana Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya